Welcome to a special edition of the EMS Wizard podcast. You have Mark Casey.
Whoa.
What?
No, not without us, you ain't. I see what you're trying to do here. No.
You just...
Hey, y'all come on. He's trying to pull some fast one on us, y'all. Come on, hey, you come up here.
You were literally just standing right there.
Mark, what's going on, man?
Hey, guys.
What? I thought we were doing this at 6 now.
Hey, Mark.
Why
Just
don't you tell
remember,
us?
Mark. Remember, we're still the guests.
Yeah, I'm the guest. Walter's the guest.
We're the guests. We're still the guests.
This is the John and Terry
show.
Thank you for
Two
joining our
guys in the
podcast.
center.
How does this look?
You look
It
fat.
looks like you're... Yeah.
Y'all could just hear the laughing in the
We are
background.
live on Facebook doing our podcast this afternoon from the beautiful Jennette's Pier
Jennette's Pier Aquarium.
Aquarium.
North Carolina Aquarium's Jennette.
Okay,
Jennette's
what
Pier.
is it, Terry?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't.
Jennette's Pier and
Why are
Aquarium.
we still talking about Mark? We got other stuff.
I was trying to do the introduction, and John come up here screwing everything up.
That's typical.
Yeah, so what are we talking about? You the one that busted up in here.
I mean, we could talk about some of the theme of what we chatted about today with some of the different presenters.
Yeah, there's a lot of really great information shared today.
But I think one of the themes throughout the day was teamwork.
Culture?
Yeah. What is the culture in your agency? What is your relationship? Whether it's the community college, knowing your people, all of that stuff. I think different presenters talking about different things. But if I were to say, hey, like barbecue, man, it's all barbecue, just different flavors of barbecue.
Justin Bowers was here, and he was looking for barbecue. He said his search was continuing. I seen that on this very Facebook.
And Paul Allen.
Did they find the barbecue? Did
I
you
know.
guys find your barbecue?
I heard they found grits grilled for breakfast.
Yeah?
It's delicious.
Well,
They have scrapple there.
I heard we had some Nickelback here today.
We did.
First thing.
and
first thing this
inspired
morning.
by Justin Brines from Cabarrus.
Nickelback?
No, Morgan Wallen.
Who's she?
Who has promised to come on our podcast, people, and sing. Justin Brines.
I haven't met her.
Who?
That's the-
Justin?
No, Morgan Wallen. Is that the girl on, what's the TV show?
Mark. Just remember we're guests, Mark.
1587?
I got that.
Is it 1587?
The
The
greatest. He's the greatest thing going on today.
That's
Next to Travis
Drake.
Kelsey.
Drake.
Taylor Swift.
So back to teamwork.
What's the Swifty deal, man? I didn't know
We
you were
don't-
Team Swifty.
I
Oh,
have
sorry.
$3.
Not a team.
Sorry.
Oh,
Okay.
Mark, did you?
Of course I am. I have $3.
You, Walter.
What
We're
did you
never
call
doing
me?
live again.
I don't know.
They don't know.
It's kind of cool to see the presenters come in and do their stuff and sort of mimic some of the cultural things that are happening in EMS leadership. Specifically, everything is sort of looking at it from a boots ground perspective here.
Boots ground.
Did I say boots ground?
Boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground. Which is, only one of us is wearing boots.
These are technically boots.
I don't think. They're chukka boots, so I guess you're right.
John.
Yes.
Back to you.
Anyway, hearing all of that here at this in this conference has been good to see that you're starting to see that blend from the leadership part down to the boots on the ground level, and it's like, I mean, that's an issue we've had, is like a viewpoint from 40,000 foot, then you have that viewpoint from boots on the ground, and I'm hearing just from the folks talking and whatnot similarities now, which you used to not hear. So it's really cool to see those people sort of blend and maybe coming closer to a model that is, I think successful. Two different lines of thought that kind of blend together so that people have that better understanding. I think it's something we have been really, our objectives have been to get to for some time, and we're finally, I'm seeing that at least just in day one here, and it's been kind of cool to see that. And that's what you were talking about, culture and teamwork. I mean, those are two big pieces of being able to pull that together.
Definitely.
Right. I said right at the end of my word.
You said right.
Thank you for that inspiration.
Walter, what are your thoughts for this episode? Walter, who was with us.
But not in his podcast shirt, but he doesn't want you to notice. So don't look at it.
Walter, just ignore it.
I know sometimes it's very hard to do that. So I think the first day went very well. Some great speakers, talking about medical education as well as leadership and blending with both. So I think that, we've got some good information from both sides. And I think we have a good lineup for tomorrow as well. That probably will do some of that same thing. But pre-conference was pretty good as well, and we still have some post-conference classes that will be coming afterward as well. So I think we have a good mix for anyone and everyone that would like to attend.
Totally not too late to come down.
It's totally not too late to come down. You can still come down tomorrow if you want to.
Yep.
Or you can come to one of the post-conference sessions on Wednesday and Thursday. Just need to let me know about those. Show up tomorrow if you want to.
I hope Terry's texting.
I'm not.
Terry's actually looking at the agenda tomorrow just to tell some people what's actually on the
Exactly.
agenda tomorrow.
Really weird looking.
Yeah. I mean, it's tomorrow.
Thank you for picking the phone.
Billy Ray Langston is going to be starting us off talking about incident command, and that's something that I think the fire service, we chat about this in a lot of our things. Hopefully that's not getting you sick, John.
I can't edit that out.
Oh, my bad.
Can you?
Billy Ray Langston's going to be talking about some command stuff. Mike Campbell talking about doing it differently. A lot of David Francisco Grovedal of Cape Fear Valley Health and Mobile Integrated, doing business as Cumberland County EMS. Lunch on your own.
I love that guy.
Best speaker I've ever heard.
Lunch on your own.
Who
If you
is,
haven't come here to hear that guy.
So what are
Is
you
Mark-
going to have for lunch on your own tomorrow?
Is Mark Casey, is he related to you, gentlemen, Casey? No.
He is. He's my evil twin.
Davy Jones Locker.
You know where that is?
Pirates of the Caribbean 4.
Sharks. It's in the Little Sharks Tom.
Oh, so the Outer Banks.
Yeah.
Sharky Tom.
Shark's Lair.
Zach Stutz. Oh, talking about sharks, Zach Stutz. Shark attacks.
It's gonna be good. It's gotta be good.
If you were here yesterday, you would have heard that Cherokee Tribal EMS is leading the state of North Carolina in shark attack prevention. It's pretty awesome.
They do. They do. I have yet to go to Cherokee and even fear sharks.
I feel pretty safe from shark attacks when I'm there.
Right. Unlike here at the Outer Banks.
Fake news.
I don't know that I see any water up here to have the shark attacks.
Fake
but
news.
last year, the weather we had, we may have had some sharks up here. The weather's been great this
So
year.
wet.
No shark attacks this year.
They
We're
closed
good.
the pier last year. Because the
Correct.
weather
It was
so
terrible because the
bad.
variable was so bad. So,
Do they have dolphins here? Can you look out and see dolphins here?
yes.
Do sharks eat dolphins?
No, but
Sharks don't eat
hate
dolphins.
Sharks hate dolphins.
Sharks hate dolphins?
Dolphins attack sharks.
Really?
Dolphins are the only mammals besides humans that kill for pleasure.
Y'all gonna have to Google this one.
There's other things that they do, but in the words of Walter, that's not for this
Mark-
podcast.
This podcast.
Mark said you can't say that here.
It's like you can't do that. You can't say that on television.
Yeah. This is how the guests run the asylum on our show. Terry and I show.
Yeah, y'all show.
Mark, are you going to put us on camera, or are you just going to have your camera up the whole time?
Our own camera.
Camera hog.
Oh, okay.
So
divas.
where do you go from here? We've been doing this. This is probably our 15th, 16th.
I'm going to go to dinner.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
15th or 16th episode.
15th.
You're not invited.
So, what? Hold on a second.
What?
Oh,
He's on the phone.
Hey,
Sir.
what? Come up here.
no chair.
No,
Yeah.
John knocked it
I
down.
will get up. We have a
Did you
special
change your
guest.
shoes?
We have a special
Those
guest
are fresh.
that we're gonna bring on.
Those are comfortable shoes.
We
I
have,
bet you can run fast in those shoes.
here, I'm gonna give him a seat up so you can talk.
Well, thank you.
You have to get close so we can hear you. If you had headphones, you'd be able to hear yourself.
Gotcha.
Just ask
Okay.
Mark.
Mark, would you like to introduce our special guest?
That means
Hey, John.
long pause.
Long pause.
Have we not been live this whole time?
Yeah, we've been live.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
Want to do this?
if you forgot to hit record.
Yep. Steven Gupton from the. Can I call you Wake Tech?
Sure.
He's our coach at Wake Tech Community College, and he coaches our students. I tell you what, Stephen, what would really be good is you did an awesome presentation today on just how important what you do is and how it is EMS related without being directly EMS related. Talk a little bit about what it is you do, because I think it's super special.
But first, before you do, because I like to interrupt you, fam,
Thank you.
it is what I would say is having taught for any number of years. A couple things, number one, last night we met face to face for the first time, but I, from years of working with you at Wake Tech and your interactions with the students, it was crazy because it was like seeing an old friend who I just hadn't seen in a long time. And even Mrs. Sheehy had commented like, "You've never met this dude? You face to face? Like I hear you talk about this guy a lot, and how he's helped with some stuff." And I would say what you're doing for our students at Wake Tech, I think this has been a missing ingredient for years, and so I'm proud to have you.
Well, thank you.
As part of that fam. So
Thank
yes,
you.
sir.
So yeah, we did teach together, but virtually.
Yeah.
I did some stuff virtually, and then you were doing some stuff virtually. But so with Wake Tech, I serve as the EMS coach, program coach. Students who may be struggling to make it to certification or graduation, I kind of jump in after a director or instructor refers that student to me, and I figure out their plan for success. We don't let them drop out of the program. We follow them all the way through. So it could be something personal, it could be financial, it really doesn't matter. I just kind of jump in and support those students, and it works because I have a background in EMS. Sometimes academic coaches, success coaches, we love what they do, but if you don't understand EMS as a profession, it's just not, sometimes it's hard for them to connect.
Yeah.
And so what's some things you do specifically? Like if I call you as a student and I say, "Hey, Coach Gupton, I'm having some issues," what's some things you're going to ask me?
So the first thing I'm going to ask is what's going on, right? Like what's wrong? I'll get that student to explain those things to me. I'll use an example. Here recently we had one that was going through some financial hardships, couldn't pay for one of the programs that we use, and our community partners stepped up and was able to do that. If they're not able to do that, then we find other resources, community resources, faith-based groups. Our foundation, they're on campus. I have referred students for counseling services, mental health services, so they do not leave the program. And that's gone as far as divorce as well. So we don't let them drop out of the program for anything.
That's kind of like, as an agency, we're taking care of our people. Sorry, Walter.
Steve, what do you do full time? Steven, what do you do
So
full time?
full time, I'm a teacher. I was just promoted.
Mr. Gupton.
I was just promoted in January to the Office of Equity and Professional Learning. So I have 43 teachers that I work with in Durham Public Schools.
Okay.
So I support them their first 3 years in the classroom.
Okay, cool.
And so that's kind of a similar position, that mentoring, that.
It's
Yeah, you
very
just do
similar
it.
because my title is actually District Beginning Teacher Mentor. So it's very similar.
And you were doing some of that in the classroom. I think when we first met, you were doing
Yeah.
some of that stuff as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. When I was teaching middle school.
So, yeah.
Cool.
How long have you been doing the EMS? EMS. You did EMS before you were into the public school system, right? And what made you, if that's true, what made you transition?
Yeah, so I actually started as a junior. So I'm only 35, but this is my 19th year because I started in high school. So I was on a rescue squad, so I was running up and down the road behind folks. I was actually not even old enough to go to the fire department business meeting, so my parents had to drop me off.
Are you serious?
And then for training, and then come back and pick me up. So I was like, "Hey, I'm ready. Like the meeting's over or training's over." Or they would call 11 o'clock, like, "What are y'all doing?" I'm like, "Well, we're sitting around the firehouse. We're not ready yet." Then I got old enough. And then back then, the laws were different, right? OEMS didn't regulate some of those things. We were able to ride ambulances and we were able to do skills during that time. So when I had my certification before I turned 18. So when I turned 18, they mailed that certification and I was able to go to work. And I actually started working my last month of high school.
So you really speak from a perspective. You had a support network. So you see, to have that someone to come pick you up, drop you off, that type of thing, you understand the importance of that. And that was my appeal to the whole idea is when I came to you, I was like, hey man, I need somebody, I don't need the EMS stuff. I need somebody that understands EMS life. And you have been instrumental over the last couple of years just in being able to do that and seeing the impacts they have. Constantly get reviews from you saying, Coach Gupton is the real deal on this stuff, and the staff, the faculty there, they swear by this to that point that, we're like, this is definitely something that's useful, needed, and I like your approach to it because I don't even know that you even get into any EMS anything. It's all about their mentality, their approach, those type of things, and that's where I think it's really special.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I rarely get into EMS stuff, air quote. Normally it's things they're going through personally, if they need assistance with study habits, things like that. That's not EMS specific. That's just making sure that we're student centered. So it has nothing to do with EMS at all. It's just whatever their struggle is. And I think you have to have some life struggles in order to understand what other folks are like going through too. So
well, we constantly or we routinely talk about this gap that exists from students coming in and how maybe the agencies are going to have to get adept to connecting with this new group that comes in that are more inexperienced or fresh out of high school or they're homeschooled, and we're seeing these different students come in, and that's where I see someone like you being that bridge, instead of them having to go through an experience and saying, man, I ain't about this life, this is too hard, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough. I know those are things that tug at your heartstrings if a kid tells you that. If they say, Coach Gupton, I ain't smart enough, I ain't good enough to do this, I know that right there turns you on. You're like, let's talk about this.
Yeah, and particularly since I am a coach, because you're saying Coach Gupton, I know you're talking about the college piece, but also coach track and field. So we always have students and athletes who are like, I can't do this piece, and then I just kind of push them to where they can see the potential, right? Like I'm not doing anything if they don't see their potential. And the same thing with our students. So going back to it not being EMS specific, the only thing we do EMS specific is in the end, I run them through like mock interviews so they can get the job on the first interview, right? Like, so we go through all of those things with them. And then again, I talked earlier about if it's a true situation where they're going through a whole lot, like once they're hired, I also reach out to them for the first 3 months and see how employment's going to. And that's just a phone call.
Yeah, very valuable thing. So, just after hearing you speak today, I just feel like this is filling a huge gap in our community college programs. I feel like everybody should at least take this example and model it within their own program. So, what would you have to say to other community college programs that doesn't have this level of support for their students?
First, it doesn't take a lot of money. Right, it does not take a lot of money. You have adjunct instructors who will serve as really good coaches or be really good coaches. Reach out to your EMS agencies and find out if you have really good FTOs in those areas that will serve as coaches. It's really just somebody for the students to talk to when they need somebody. That's it.
Right.
That's all. It's not a lot of money poured into the program. Because I think that's a concern. I think a lot of people think, I have to pay this salary, I have to do this. It's not a lot of resources. Everything we do is really in-house.
Right.
I think that does hit that gap. We talk about it in officer classes. We talk about it amongst each other, and it really does kind of plug in that gap. And sometimes I think here people might be intimidated to say, "Hey, I don't know what kind of person, or I don't know how to do that." And so reaching out, whether it's at Wake Tech or Steven reaching out to him. I think that's part of that necessary growth, and I'm pretty proud to be on a team that said, hey, we've got to change how we're doing it, because the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results, and so we got to be like the dinosaurs, you either evolve or you dissolve. So, and
it's got to be the right person, right? I mean, not just anybody can step in and coach somebody through some. I know, Terry, you've done some coaching as well, with folks, and so you have to have that the personalities have to mesh, you have to blend, you have to get together and be able to do those things. And I mean, so it takes a certain type of person. You just can't pluck somebody and say, hey, go out and coach. It's got to be someone that's going to have a passion for that, that has a belief structure of, I want to make someone better beyond just looking through that lens of EMS, but looking at it successfully.
And what I would say too, John, to where you hit on that, is the coaching that I've done has been some one-on-one stuff, and number one, having that support network of calling Steven and saying, hey fam, what are your thoughts? What is your advice? And having the mentor to mentor the mentor, and then talking with those individuals when I did that one-on-one stuff. And one of the things that I would say is attending that paramedic graduation and seeing that person graduate who they were struggling with some stuff. I can look at some things that I'm really proud of in my life. A 25-year pin as opposed to 25 one-year pins. Working with what we joke about it, but I've got some best friends that I get to hang out with and chat with about some things, some educational things, the birth of my daughter. There's any number of things, but if I were to say, hey, what are some of the top 5 or top 10 things that I'm proudest of? That first person, coaching that first person, seeing them walk. And all of us, I think, as paramedics can say the difference that we made with a patient or whatever, but seeing that individual, maybe they would have crossed that stage otherwise, but I don't know. It was doubtful, but I know that I made that difference. And for me, that's probably one of the top rewarding things for me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and you did a really good job with that one too. I remember that one, or one of them, and it was a situation where this particular student, grown, was going through a divorce, and you reached out and you were like, hey, what about this? And I was like, this is what we do. Like, we're just simply mentoring, and we're listening, and we're providing resources if we have them. And that particular student was successful. Yeah. Right. That was not EMS related. That was personal.
Yep. Well, correct.
I think most people, and I'll say, even agencies don't realize that some students struggle getting through class more than they really think that they do. So, on the outside, the shell looks pretty hard, but on the inside, it looks pretty gooey. And, the students sometimes don't want to bring that up to someone. They want to do the best they can. They're falling behind. But having somebody on their side and on their back to help them push along like you're doing, I think is helping that. Because sometimes the instructor may not even realize it. Sometimes the instructor may not even realize that they're having some issues until it's too late. Yeah. And especially an EMS agency going to school, they don't even realize that they're struggling sometimes. So and then what does the agency want? The agency needs that person. Well, the person struggling, they're not going to be able to get to that agency because they're going to fall out before them. Not because they want to, but you're trying to coach them along to be able to help them to stay in there so that agency does get that individual. And I think that's the important piece.
Well, you got a lead instructor, and they're going to have 30 students.
Correct.
And so this helps break down. I mean, maybe that lead instructor goes in knowing, and we all know this. We go in, we're not going to finish with 30. The question may come up as why. And if you've got someone that's there to say, I'm not going to let you drop out, you possibly are going to finish with 30 because now you can come in and sort of connect with those that would otherwise drop for whatever reason that we would call, maybe lead instructors would say, that's just part of what we're supposed to have, as the cut, 10%, 20%, and get cut out at some point in time. That's part of what it's supposed to be. And a coach inside of that program may be someone that can salvage those folks, make that connection so they don't drop, so they don't leave. And now you are graduating 30 people that started a program. So I think that, like we said, that's been one of those gaps. But it's about passion, because that question that you have, why do you get an EMS? Terry, you do interviews, you ask that question, you do interviews, you ask that question, why? And they're going to say, to help people. New people say that, to help people. And as we get older, as we get more experience, to help people goes down the list a little bit. I mean, we're still there to help people, but there's other things we want to accomplish. This is a way that you still keep that fire and that passion to help people, because you mentor, because you're able to coach folks like that. So whereas we look through that lens of, I'm trying to help someone who might be hurt that needs 911, that calls 911, needs EMS, now we're not helping hurt people anymore. We're truly helping people, because at the end of the day, they still may not want to do EMS, but they'll never forget the interaction that they had with you that made them better than they were. And I think that's one of the positives I think you get out of that, and that's that's age old in EMS, is who made that impact for so long.
Well, and we talk about the EMS piece, but I've also when you're a mentor and you're coaching, you build those relationships where you can have really good, honest conversations. And I've had students when I said, I think we ought to reconsider, maybe we should think of something different, right? And they were struggling, and I'm like, maybe we just ought to talk. And I've worked with them in between classes. Like I had one student who really struggled with reading comprehension, who struggled with the curriculum. And I assisted her a couple of months before she enrolled into the class again, and we saw the success. So sometimes you just have to have an honest conversation and say, not right now. Maybe we need to do it later, or maybe not at all, right? Maybe people skills or whatever, communication skills aren't there. So you can also have those honest conversations once you build relationships with the folks you're working with.
I think that's excellent. That's a missing piece, and we're fortunate at Wake Tech to have that type of piece inside.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So Steven Gupton is for hire. Your community college.
www.stevengupton.com.
Hey, Steven, not like trying to pimp you out, is it?
So we got about 5 minutes left. If anybody has a question on Facebook, post a question here.
Are you all on Facebook? Are you sure? If you have a question, you probably should put it through Facebook because we won't listen.
Y'all keep it.
Because we've got headphones on, so we can't hear. What did you say? I can't hear you. I have headphones on.
That's what the guest said. That's what one of the guests said. Do you put your headphones on so you can hear better? I'm still hearing just fine, just so y'all know.
Yeah, so we can hear each other.
But the $1 million question is, Steven, do you have a best friend?
Don't answer the question unless you really want to get in.
Just say no then.
Don't take the bait.
don't.
Don't take the
Because
bait.
they're hard to have.
I know you work for him, but don't take the bait. Don't take the
You shouldn't
bait.
answer it. People don't.
Do you have a second? Do you have a second best friend?
Plead the fifth.
You don't have a second best friend?
Plead the fifth.
There's no reason to answer it. I agree with him.
Plead the fifth.
Smart man.
That's the very best friend of him to not answer that question because he don't want to embarrass y'all. I get it. I don't want to embarrass you guys. You guys are glutton for that.
You know what?
This man is clearly has a best friend and doesn't want to share.
I wonder if Keith is listening right now. Oh wait,
There's a chance.
did he respond at all?
To my friend request, he did.
That doesn't mean he's your best friend.
Here,
This is the thing.
what
Is
Keith told me is after you decline a friend request like 7 or 8 times, you either have to block the person or just accept it and unfollow them. And he chose the high road.
Hey Mark, remember we're just
Or take 'em
guests.
to court.
It's
Yeah,
their
it's kinda
it's their
weird.
story,
It's
and
their
we're just guests.
Why's it got to be weird? Why are you calling me out like it's weird? It's not like I'm showing up at dinner or anything like that. Like, hey,
would do
Keith,
that?
yeah, that's weird.
Who would do that?
Yeah, that's weird.
Steven, we appreciate you being on this episode.
Anybody have any questions, Mark?
Do
Anybody come on?
we ask him the contentious question?
You should.
Okay. Steven, you can plead the fifth on this. This is a statement you made in the classroom here earlier. And so,
Now you're gonna check your ability.
so now we're gonna. Well, no. I mean, because he's still on my list of best friends, so I'm not gonna say what his ranking is, 8th. But should everybody be an FTO?
No.
All right. So what?
No, absolutely
Give
not.
us, in the last couple minutes here. Tell us your thoughts in that, and what can we do to bridge that gap to fix that? I mean, you had some really good thoughts, and it was so good. I wanted our audience to hear it. So please, I'll shut up now.
I've worked in the field for a while, precept and field training, captain of compliance and training. People can have really strong clinical skills, but it doesn't necessarily translate into coaching. Right. So I think if you have someone who does not have really good communication skills, therapeutic communication skills, great bedside manners, then we're taking those same students that I'm coaching and putting them with people where they pick up bad habits. Because normally that's who they're going to. It's the new employees that are coming in.
Burnt
FTO.
as toast.
Right. So no, everybody does not need to be an FTO. And I'm all about pushing for more formal training. I don't think you should be an FTO without going through some FTEP program. But that's just me.
Absolutely.
EMS was their FTO program that Mark and John do routinely.
And Andy.
Oh, Andy.
And Andy.
Didn't I do some of those? I think the inaugural, like Captain Marco Ramius.
What?
I had my angel wings on, I'm sure.
You did actually. Did y'all have any?
Walter, who is not with us, but he's still alive. He's not dead.
Playing with your phone again?
I'm texting you.
It's rude
I'm a rude person.
during the podcast. Do that.
I wasn't listening to you. I was texting. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Did you have any questions? Any of y'all? Over? What about in the back? They're pretty quiet too. They want to be able to see.
Hey, it's Keith. Keith's here.
What is he doing here? Mark?